Hi, welcome back. This is the third video in our series on group behavior intervention. We're talking about the good behavior game or the good student game, and what's the difference between those games and how can you utilize those games in your room or in your home. So when we talk about this, during this video, we're going to compare the two. During the next video, I'm going to give some examples and give some resources to go along with that. Again, you can find visuals to go along with this and resources on our website at www.everydaybehaviors.com or on our Facebook page if you follow Everyday Behavior with Dr. Mary Ann. And so, what is the good behavior game or the good student game? Both of these are games that you can implement in your home or in your classroom that are intended to be implemented for discrete periods of time. They're kind of like practice. So if you think about a basketball or football or anything like that, the students practice, but then they implement the skills they learn during practice at other times. And so this is your skill building time. So you're going to look at playing the game or practicing these behaviors during discrete times of the day. And then you're capitalizing on that, generalizing to the remainder of the day or other points when you're not necessarily playing the game. So you're focusing on teaching the skill and building that skill during the game. And then when the game is removed or the game is turned off, you're looking at the students implementing or generalizing that skill throughout the day. And so what you want to do is you want to set up a time to play the game in your classroom. Once you set up the time to play that game in your classroom, then you're going to select specific skills that you want to look at. Now, what do you want to play? Do you want to play the good behavior game or the good student game? They sound very similar, but the research behind the two is slightly different. So in the good behavior game, the students always play in teams. So you're looking at that interdependent or that dependent contingency. So they're playing in teams. You're capitalizing on that team building and team cohesiveness. In the good student game, the students can play in teams or they can play as individuals. And so you want to look at, do I want to capitalize on that teamwork? If so, you can play either, but if you're looking at that individual criteria, you're going to play the good student game. So in both games, in the good behavior game, the teacher is monitoring and recording the behavior, whereas in the good student game, the students are monitoring and recording their own behaviors. And so this is one of the things that you really want is to reduce some of the workload and some of the effort on you and capitalize on all the eyes in your classroom and all the monitors in your classroom. And so the students are monitoring and the teacher is just kind of doing integrity checks, or the parent is doing those integrity checks to make sure that there's accuracy in student or child recording. Your target behaviors. In the good behavior game, you can look at rule breaking or rule following behavior. So you can look at students not getting out of their seat or not talking out. At home, you can look at not engaging in aggressive behaviors, not engaging in sibling fighting. Whereas in the good student game, you're looking at rule following behaviors. So you're looking at sharing and cooperation, staying in your seat, keeping your voice at an appropriate level for the work time. When you're looking at recording, again, this is very similar to the management or the monitoring. In your good student game, the students are recording the rule following behaviors. So when the timer goes off, the students will record, are the members of their group or are they individually following the rule when during that time interval, whereas during the good behavior game, the teacher is looking to see who is following the rules or who is breaking the rules during that time period. So again, it's just a matter of who's in charge of the documentation. When you're looking at reinforcement, so again, in the good behavior game, because you're looking at group performance, you're looking at group rewards, and it's dependent on the group performance, whereas the good student game, you have that flexibility of the independent or individual performance for reward. Your criterion for reinforcement, so in your good behavior game, students can't exceed the criteria of rule-breaking behaviors. And so if they had more than the criteria of out of seat or talking out or sibling fighting or disagreements or whatever, if they exceeded that criteria, then they would not earn the reward. And you're looking at if the group exceeded the criteria. Whereas in your good student game, the groups or individuals achieve a set percentage of rule following behavior. So you're really looking at, are you looking at behavior reduction or behavior increase? Your good student game is really looking at that pro-social behavior increase, where your good behavior game is really looking at that undesired challenging behavior decrease. So your feedback in the good behavior game, the teacher is providing that feedback when the rule breaking behavior occurs. Whereas in your good student game, the teacher is providing that feedback at regular intervals, and it's focused on the positive pro-social behaviors. And so it's kind of that catching your students being good. There's a time and place for each one. If you're really looking at, you have a lot of undesired behaviors and a lot of rule breaking behavior, you may want to play the good behavior game. Whereas if you really are looking at that skill increase, and one of those things that I kind of harp on is, what is the replacement behavior? What is the alternative behavior that we want to see the students engaging in? Then you're probably looking at the good student game. So I hope this has cleared up maybe some confusion and giving you some ideas, and I look forward to talking to you about how to set up your good student game in the next video.